Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all a story real quick. This is about the time that I almost lost my life for the Democratic Party and almost got robbed by the Democratic Party at the same time. Now, I'm smiling now, but when this happened, it was not a laughing matter, right? It was nothing fun about it. So let me take you guys back to when I was 21 years old. I first began to try to get involved with politics when I was 21 years old. That's when I started taking it serious. I wanted to learn the names of my elected officials. I wanted to know what power they had in the positions that they held. I wanted to know who did what, who ran what, who did I need to talk to in order to get certain things taken care of in the city. And so one thing that the elders in my community always told me, they said that in order to get involved in politics and in order to, have my voice and my opinion validated, I had to put in work, is what they kept telling me. I had to put in work. I couldn't just come in off the street and start, telling politicians what they should do, what they shouldn't do. I had to earn my opinion, basically. So I was game for that. I was like, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to put in work to show that I'm serious about this, to show that, my opinion should be valid? What do I have to do to get my foot in the door? And so they basically told me that there was a presidential election coming up, and they needed people to help out with the campaign because not only are presidential campaigns important, the local politics are important as well. And so what they try to do, they'll piggyback right off of presidential elections and they'll get people registered to vote. But when they get people registered to vote, they'll try to get them registered as either a Democrat or a Republican. And they will always tell people who are not too familiar with politics to vote a straight Democratic ticket or vote a straight Republican ticket. Okay? And so what they had coming up, they had something coming up called block walking. Now, I didn't know what block walking was, but I knew it was a way that I could get my foot in the door. So I was like, okay, I'll do the block walk and I'll volunteer my time to go block walk. So my father took me to the headquarters, the Democratic headquarters in my hometown one day, dropped me off. I met two individuals. One individual was a man named Stephen Holmes. He's still in politics right now today in my local area. And a lady named Michelle. Forgive me, but I don't remember Michelle's last name. But I believe she was like his secretary, or she was the secretary for the Democratic headquarters. And so it was me and several other youth, boys and girls, men and women. Now, I was only 21, but I was the oldest one there, rather. Everybody else, they was like 16, 17, 18. I think the oldest outside of me was 18. So what they did, they loaded us all up in the vehicles. They gave us voter registration cards, and they were taking us to different neighborhoods, and they would drop us off in a neighborhood, and they were like, okay, go door to door with these voter registration cards, pass them out to people, ask them are they registered to vote. If not, tell them to fill this out to get registered to vote, and just suggest that when they vote straight Democratic ticket. They vote for the Democratic Party. So they took us to various cities, right? They'll take us to an area in the city. They'll drop us off and they'll say, okay, walk this block, and this block, and knock on as many doors as you can. And then, they said that after a certain amount of time, they were going to pick us back up, give us more voter registration cards, take us to another location. So we were doing that for several hours, right? Now, check this out. They drop us off in one neighborhood, they drive off, and so me and the other individuals that was block walking with me, we all kind of like split up so we could, cover more area. So I'm walking down the street by myself, knocking on doors. I get to the middle of the block. I walk in the driveway, walk up to the front door, I knock on the door, okay? So this door was like a screen door and the regular front door. So I knock on the door, ring the doorbell, and I wait. After I wait for a few seconds, I hear someone approaching. So I hear someone approaching. They say, "Who is it?" through the door. I say, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Matthew Daniels. I'm a representative for the Democratic Party. I'm just going door to door, asking everybody, are you registered to vote? Are you ready to go out there and, make your vote count? I have some voter registration cards." And I just hope, I give them the spiel. I tell them everything that they trained me to tell them. I've been saying this all day, so, it flows. So I hear the door unlocking, it opens up, and behind the screen door, the regular door opens, the screen door is still closed. So when the door opens up, there's this African-American lady, young lady, she was older than me, but a young lady standing there, and she was wrapped up in a towel, right? Like she just got out of the shower or something. And so when I see her, I kind of feel, somewhat embarrassed. I don't want to, I don't want it to appear like I'm trying to look at this lady, but I'm wondering, like, okay, well, she's the one that answered the door. So she was like, well, what did you say your name was? So I was like, oh, my name Matthew Daniels. I'm passing out voter registration cards. I'm just trying to make sure everybody get out there and go vote. So I'm having a conversation with her, offering her the voter registration cards. So I hear what I assume is her husband in the background, a man's voice. It was like, man, who is that at the door? And so she was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Some boy, talking about voting. He was like, man, get away from that door. I'll talk to him. So the guy comes to the door. He comes to the screen. So he comes to the screen. He looked out at me. He was like, man, what you doing in my house? So I was like, oh, nah, I apologize. I'm just passing out voter registration cards. I'm just trying to, get everybody to go vote, let you know that your vote counts, straight Democratic ticket. I'm giving them the spiel. So he's standing and he's kind of like turned sideways. And so he kind of adjusts his body position to where we're face to face now. And I see in his right hand, he's holding a handgun, a chrome handgun, big chrome handgun. So I see it. And I look down and I'm like, whoa, So I kind of like bag up. I was like, oh, I put my hands up. I was like, whoa, hold on, homie. Hey, man, I'm just trying to, tell everybody to get out and go vote. So he kind of like pushed the screen door open. So now there's nothing but air, open air between me and this man with an aggravated look on his face and a pistol. And all I'm thinking in the back of my mind is like, man, I know it's not going to end like this for me. I know this is not what my life came to. I know I'm not about to get shot trying to, change my life and become a positive member of society, a productive member of society. So I kind of start bagging up off of the porch, and he follows me outside. Like he steps outside. Now he doesn't pick up the gun and point it at me, but he's saying like, oh, no, man, I don't do no voting around here, man. I don't do no voting. And you came to the wrong house with that. So I got my hands up and I'm bagging up slowly, and I'm like, all right. Hey, man, look, hey, ain't no problem, man. Ain't no problem. I'm going by my business. So I'm bagging up and I start kind of like looking up and down the road, because now I'm looking for the other people that I'm walking around with. I need somebody to see what's happening. See, I need a witness. For real. I need a witness to what's going on, just in case it get crazy. So I bag up all the way to the street, and he walks out to the middle of the yard. So when he walks out to the middle of the yard, he see me looking up and down the road. So he looks up and down the road. Now the whole time I don't turn my back on him. So when he looks up and down the road, he sees these other kids that's out here with me. They're not really paying attention to us, but they're walking, they're talking, but they're in the middle of the roads on either side of the block. So he looks at them, he looks at me, and I think he kind of like, I don't think he believed me at first that I was actually there trying to pass out voter registration cards. But then when he saw these other kids, and we all have on the same T-shirts, these Democratic political T-shirts, I think it clicks in his mind like, oh snap, I done messed up. So he walks around to his car, he pops the trunk, he throws the gun into the trunk, and he gets into the seat. Now I'm at the street now, but I still haven't turned my back to him to walk off. So I'm walking backwards down the street, but I'm still looking at him. because, you know, just how I was taught, you never turn your back on somebody with a gun, because you may have to think fast, act fast, move fast. So he gets into the driver's seat, he cranks up the car, he opens up the door, he jumps out, he pops the trunk, he gets the gun back out the trunk, he jumps back in the driver's seat, he pulls, he drives off. Now get this, when he drives off, you know, I feel a sigh of relief. I'm like, oh man, damn, that could have been it. So I tell the other kids that's with me, I'm like, hey man, that dude just answered the door with a gun, man. Like, dude came to the door with a gun. They was like, whoa, what happened? What happened? So I tell them what happened. So when Stephen Holmes and his secretary, when they pulled back up on us to pass out more voter registration cards or to see if they need to take us to another neighborhood, I tell them, I'm like, hey man, I just knocked on this door right here. Dude came with a gun. He came outside with a gun talking about, you know, I tell him the story. He don't do no voting here. He don't do no voting, yada, yada, yada. Man, you know what these people did? They laughed. They was like, oh, yeah, you get something like that. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, man, this ain't no laughing matter. I don't even want to do this anymore at this point, you know? And so, but I do go to a few more houses, pass out the voter registration cards. So we finished with that. And I'm gonna tell you something. Back then, I really wasn't the guy that I am now, right? I wasn't the guy that I am now. My mind, I was in a whole different state mentally. That's when I began to try to become a productive member of society. And so at first, I had remembered what a house was. And I was thinking in my mind, oh, I'm gonna have to go back there tonight or the next night or the next night. But one night I'm gonna have to go back there and I have to see about that dude. You know, I have to talk to him with the odds even. I gotta get my gun and I have to go back there and hey, we have to deal with this. You just pulled the gun on me. I don't like when people make me afraid for my life, right? But what stopped me is, again, at that point I was trying to change my life. And I was thinking in my mind, okay, if I go back over there and I do something and I end up getting caught and I go to jail and I spend the rest of my life in jail over something stupid, and all I'm thinking about is what the headlines are going to read. The headlines is going to make it seem like, oh, I wasn't even trying to do nothing good. I wasn't trying to get people registered to vote. Oh, I was going around casing houses and I came back to rob them or something like that. Like, I just knew I was going to be the bad guy. You know, I just knew that I was going to be the bad guy. And like I say, at that point in my life, I was trying to change. I didn't want to be the bad guy anymore. And so, you know, I had to swallow that, you know. But that's how I almost lost my life for the Democratic Party. But get this, I also almost got robbed by the Democratic Party that same day. Now check this out. In my mind, I was trying to do something good for my community. So in my mind, I had volunteered to do that, right? I thought I was there just volunteering my time. Now, while I was out there passing out those voter registration cards, the other kids that was with me, they were talking, and they had started talking about what they were going to do with their money, They want to just get their money so they could go home. And so I stop them. I say, hold on, wait a minute. What are y'all talking about? What money? Who giving y'all money? And they was like, man, Steven and Michelle. I was like, wait a minute. Y'all getting paid to be out here? They was like, yeah, man, we wouldn't be out here if we wasn't getting paid. So I said, whoa. Who told y'all that y'all were gonna get paid to do this block walking? And they told me that was the agreement the whole time. Come to find out, everybody had made an agreement of what they were going to be paid, how much they were going to be paid, and when they were going to be paid. But these people had let me come out there and volunteer my time. Now, listen, I was fully prepared to volunteer. I wasn't expecting no form of payment. But when I realized that everybody else that was block walking with me was getting paid, naturally, I felt like I should get paid too. Like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Why are y'all trying to play me? Or am I supposed to be getting paid too? Or are y'all gonna write this down and pocket my payment and take it for yourself? And like I say, I was out there for, it was hours. We were out there. 2 days we were out there. So what ends up happening is when after they tell us that, when we get back to the headquarters, I confront them. I confront Stephen and Michelle, and I was like, hey man, yeah, y'all let me think I was out here volunteering my time, but all these other individuals out here, they told me they getting paid and they getting paid this much. Why didn't anybody tell me that I was supposed to be getting paid for this? And so they were like, oh no, you didn't know you were supposed to get paid. Oh no, sorry about that. It was a misunderstanding. Yeah, everybody get paid, and they was fumbling and bumbling over their words, but they ended up telling me that they gonna pay me fair, like they said that they was gonna pay everybody else. And so check this out. Everybody gets paid but me. Oh, they have to go and cash a check at the bank and withdraw some money from the bank, and it's gonna be a few days before they can get me my money. Now everybody else get their money, but I have to wait on mine. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait on mine. It's no big deal. Listen, family, they put me off, till finally, again, my mind started almost reverting back to that old mind state that I had when I was, a teenager, when I was 19, 20, 21. My mind state started reverting back, and I was like, man, now I feel like you trying to rob me. It's not that you're not paying me, it's you tried to rob me. First, you manipulated me and made me think that everybody was out here volunteering. And if I never would have brought up the money, you never would have brought up the money. And so I shouldn't have had to confront you about that, but then I had to confront you about that. And now, you making me wait 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to get my bread. So what I ended up having to do is, like I say, Stephen Holmes, he was a politician at the time. He, I think he worked at the courthouse, or man, it's been so long, I don't even remember. But I found out, I think it was at the courthouse. I forget what his position was, but he worked at the courthouse. And so one day I went up to the courthouse, and Michelle, his secretary, she was in there sitting at the desk. So boom, I bust in, and she was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing, Matthew?" I was like, "Hey, look, this not no this is not a personal call. This is a business call." I say, "Man, look, I just got to be honest with you, man. Stephen Holmes, he's been ducking me about this money. I'm very upset. I'm not leaving without that money. I got to get that money today. And I basically, in certain terms, I let her know I was very upset. I felt like I was being robbed. And, I'm not the individual that's going to just get robbed and take it laying down. I'm not going to just lay down and get robbed, right? And so she was like, oh, nah, Matthew, nah, ain't nobody trying to rob you. I say, listen, it ain't even got nothing to do with you, man. It ain't even about you. I say, it's about him. It's about him. He the one that I was out there doing the block walking for. He the one that didn't tell me I was supposed to get paid. And he the one that's been putting me out for over 2 weeks. I said, I want to talk to him. I want to talk to the man. I'm not going to argue with a woman. I respect you. That's what I let Michelle know. Hey, I respect you. But me and Stephen, we got to we finna get a real good understanding that I feel like he's trying to rob me. And it's only one way I deal with an individual that's trying to rob me. You know what I mean? I got to match that energy. And so, long story short, I didn't leave without getting my money. Now, this was a couple $100. It wasn't just $30, family. It was a couple $100 that they owed me. Right? A couple $100 that they owed me. This was back when I was 21, so a couple $100 was a lot of money. So I ended up getting my money, and that left a real bad taste in my mouth, not only for the Democratic Party, but for politics as a whole. Now, I remained a Democrat for a long time after that. I've only recently become independent, but that left a bad taste in my mouth for politics. But fortunately for me, I stayed involved. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Over my life, I've been burned by so many politicians. Me just trying to do the right thing and support politicians and get burned. You know, you get frustrated. But I just want to say that to somebody that's out there that, you know, you may be trying to get involved in politics, and it may seem like the majority of politics are corrupt and crooked, but don't let that deter you and don't let that stop. You are an American citizen, and this is just how our government run. Your voice matters. Never forget that your vote matters, and do not let anybody disenfranchise you. And just because you may run into some politicians that may try to take advantage of you, do not stop being involved. I guess that's the message out of all of this 20-minute rant. Well, it's getting dark now. I'm on my way home from work. So I'm going to go ahead on and tap out. But yeah, that's how I almost got killed for the Democratic Party and almost got robbed by the Democratic Party all in one block walking. So I've been at this politic thing for a long time, and I got a lot of stories about it. But y'all have a good night, all right? I'm out.